You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, I heard this and was like, my goodness, this is a little refreshing for an actual ex-player. And I'm just going to keep it real because, well, white folks do get tired of being called racist. A black player, a legend, Patriots legend, Lawyer Milloy, coming out and saying the quiet part out loud that only a few of us have been raising our hands and saying for, the last well over a year, whenever it was that Jerod Mayo was given the job. And there's rumblings out there right now that Jerod Mayo could be plotting a lawsuit against the Patriots. And I keep thinking, why? Because you got handed a job and you got just handed a contract which you're going to keep just banking money off of? I mean, come on. No doubt about it. Jerod Mayo was not qualified to be the Patriots head coach. And I think a lot of Patriots fans were like, why the hell didn't we just hire Mike Vrabel last year? Damn good question. And I will still contend that, look, we literally heard Robert Kraft come out and say he hired Jerod Mayo because of a warm and fuzzy feeling he got off of him. Well, that's not choosing the best person for the job. And do I also believe that, and I can't prove this, but I would guess because a lot of sports owners went absolutely berserk during that George Floyd time period, all of that fallout. The Cleveland Indians owner saying he had a dream, woke up and decided to change the name to the Guardians. Ugh. I mean, we saw it over and over and over again. The NBA putting Black Lives Matter all over the court, right? Well, Lawyer Milloy came out and he said the quiet part out loud yesterday that only a few of us has actually been saying. I mean, I'm sorry, but when Jerod Mayo checks his owner and then makes one of the most racist statements we've ever heard in the history of sports by coming out and saying blatantly, yeah, I see race. Okay, well, that would be called a racist, whether you like it or not. That's exactly what that is. Lawyer Malloy went on WEI Afternoons, a show I like to listen to a lot. And then I actually found out about this because I was listening to Christian Arcan's evening show in the car earlier when I had to run to the store. And he brought up the fact that Lawyer Malloy called Jerod Mayo a DEI hire, and I like to ran off the road. I was like, really? What? On the afternoon show. And then, of course, in true Boston media fashion, went on a rant about how it's not a DEI hire. Thanks, white boy. I mean, honestly, seriously. And I like Christian Arcan, but come on, man. So the very definite, like the Webster's Dictionary example of a warm and fuzzy hire that was not qualified, that happened to be black in a time when everybody was losing their minds over race and color of skin. Okay, I mean, come on. I mean, honestly, you're just being, dense, I guess. So let's check this out right here. Lawyer Malloy on WEI Afternoons.
And hopefully he brings that mentality, to New England with his second opportunity and to be an NFL head coach. I think that his coaching style, his demeanor matches more with, I think, the city of Boston. Hopefully the organization has more patience with him than they had with Mayo, because success doesn't happen overnight. And for them to release a coach after 1 year, when you look at Mayo, it's hard not to think, hey, that was just a DEI hire. We filled our quota, and now let's go. Get back to the guy that we probably should have got a year before.
Yeah, there it is. The guy back to the guy that was much more qualified. We should have hired last year. It's still They didn't I understand they had this contract. I mean, why in the world would you promise this job to anybody? Because you never know who's going to be available. And guess what? Jim Harbaugh and Mike Vrabel was available last year. You didn't do it. So, no, you did not hire the most qualified for the job. I mean, yeah, we're getting back. We're finally getting back to hiring the most qualified people in this country for the jobs. And I got to give lawyer Milloy credit. And look, he never shies away from giving you his true opinion. He just come out and said it. This shit looks like a DEI hire to me. Well, wait a minute, lawyer. You're black. You're not supposed to. Yeah. Well, hey, that's keeping it real right there. It is. He's calling it like he sees it, like a lot of people see it. And I will say this. Do I think Jerod Mayo was probably fired? Not only was he a disaster, but do I think Robert Kraft at some point in the season and with all the stories that came out realized Jerod Mayo was a massive mess up and he better grab Mike Vrabel before he becomes the Jets head coach? Yeah, I do think the idea that he was going to the Jets, and I do think that was going to happen from the stories I've heard since he's gotten hired. He was going to the Jets if the Patriots hadn't hired him. So, yeah, he pivoted. Robert Kraft pivoted and grabbed the guy. And I don't know how you can possibly argue with the hiring, the firing or the hiring. So I don't know what grounds Jerod Mayo would have you got handed a job. You had 4 years as what? An inside linebackers coach? That's not being qualified for a head coach. Liam Cohen, Mr. Duval. One of the cringiest things we've ever heard. It may be the cringiest thing we've ever heard, but when you pull up his Pro Football Reference, he's got about 3 or 4 more real seasons of coaching under his belt than Jerod Mayo did, including as a coordinator. I mean, Jerod Mayo was not qualified to have the job, and he was just handed the job. Literally off an owner saying, I've got a feeling about it. Well, that's not hiring the best person for the job when Mike Vrabel and Jim Harbaugh are available. I mean, literally. And you can't tell me that skin color didn't play a role, because guess what? If Blind Squirrel finds a nut and Jerod Mayo wins 12 games and makes it to an AFC championship game, then Robert Kraft gets to moonwalk backwards. Hey, look, I'm the legacy media hero for having hired this guy. Look at me. I mean, we know how this would have went. It didn't work out that way, by the way. It does seem Jerod Mayo is not, in fact, even Brian Flores. And Brian Flores, look, I think his lawsuit's absurd. The guy's qualified to be a head coach. And as much as I think his lawsuit is bananas, and I actually think he would be a head coach right now if it wasn't for that lawsuit, that has backfired on Brian Flores. Because now if Jerod Mayo sues the NFL, it'll be absurd. He will probably cancel any chance, because why hire the guy? Why hire Flores? Oh, let me hire you, and when it does go bad 8 or 9 years down the road, even if a couple of Super Bowls are won, when we get around to having to let you go, we run the risk of getting sued over race. What else you going to say? Come on. Tell me what you think. I saw this. I was like, I got to make a video about that. Good job, lawyer Malloy. I mean, that's a breath of fresh air. By the way, the interview was really good. He had a lot of good things to say, and that's a hell of a. All those shows on that that other 98.5 whatever. I don't care to listen to those guys, but these guys, I'll put them on while I'm working during the day on YouTube. They're all good shows, including Christian Arcand. I just don't agree with him on this. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.